So, what I would like to talk about for a few minutes today, guys, is a phenomenon. I don't know if it's because I'm watching the news more, but there seems to be a phenomenon of a different environmental study coming out every day detailing a new way in which the planet is either sick or under siege or not doing well in terms of global climate change. And it's another way in which humans are sort of sowing the seeds of our own undoing with the way we are currently treating our planet. And I grew up in West Texas, a largely conservative area of the country, and I did know plenty of folks back home who were deeply concerned and deeply invested in care for the planet and in the environment, being a good steward, so to speak. But generally, I would say when you try to bring up the environmental conversation back where I'm from, you hit certain walls and you run up against certain arguments, particularly when you bring it up as a matter of theology in the church. By and large, you would hit arguments that run something like, well, God is over all that anyway, so I don't really worry a lot about that. Or doesn't it say humans have dominion over the planet? And like I said, that's a generalization. That's not true across the board. There's a lot of subtlety I'm missing, but that is a rough thumbnail of some things that could be described as my early interaction with the largely religious community trying to handle the environmental question. I think with what I'm hearing these days, with the new report that global climate change is almost at a point of no return, whether you believe that's from just the greenhouse gases and the solar radiation affecting the planet, or whether you saw the newest study that says the Arctic ice shelf is now at a point of no return as far as gradual melting goes. It's getting to the point where it doesn't really matter where one is politically or in one's faith. To be a relevant voice in this world and in this cultural conversation, we as a church have got to do two things. We've got to find a way, I believe, to reduce the fear that you draw on from mainstream media that, as I said, seems to give you seven new ways you're gonna die every day. And we need to really have an honest conversation about what it means to live as a Christian and a people of faith and a kingdom of God folk who are genuinely concerned about the planet. And this particularly strikes me as from a United Methodist angle because we have things such as social principles, and we have, texts in our book of discipline that deal with environmental responsibility, and yet across the denomination and across the world, the responses to what you talk about when you talk about things such as environmental justice are so radically different and can meet such either walls of hostility or just indifference is bad enough. That as a denomination, I think it behooves us, and it's our responsibility in order to stay relevant, to get involved in this conversation. I could sit here with point by point analysis of things we could do, but let's start by affecting denominational legislation that puts the church in a position where if we want to care for the environment on a boots on the ground level, there are funds available to do that. Let's partner with people from conservation societies who know how to do those things. Not only is that the common sense thing to do, it allows us to be relevant to a group of people we're not reaching right now. Because the teens and 20-somethings and the 30-somethings and all sorts of the nuns, as we call them, who have no religious affiliation at all, they care about the environment. And the longer the denomination and the longer the Christian church in general doesn't present a unified front as far as some of that goes, the further and further we get from those people, and the harder it is to make a connection that really, really matters. So I guess I would close by saying I encourage you to look into, I would encourage us to look into the passages in the Old Testament that talk about dominion and see what that word really means, and really consider as a church and a people of faith what our role is in the environment, and what God is calling us to do, both to reduce fear but actively engage the environment and care for the earth in a way that makes practical, realistic, physical sense and evangelistic sense. Thanks, guys. Let me know what you think. Look me up on YouTube. Find me at missionalwisdom.com. Find me at umclead.com. Thanks. Peace.